What if the blessing you've been praying for is already on its way, but something in you is blocking it? What if it's not a timing issue? What if it's not God withholding? What if it's you holding on to something you don't even realize is costing you everything? Here's the truth most people don't want to hear. God is not the one holding back your breakthrough. Sin is. Not the big, obvious kind, but the quiet kind. The kind that hides in your daily choices until it becomes your normal. In this video, we're going to talk about 5 sins that are hindering your blessings, so you can identify what's blocking you and finally walk in what God already has for you. 1. Unforgiveness. You say you've moved on, but every time their name comes up, something tightens in your chest. You tell yourself you're fine, but deep down, you're still keeping score. Here's what you need to understand. Unforgiveness feels like protection, but it's actually a prison, and you're the one locked inside. Matthew 6:15 says, "But if you do not forgive others their trespasses, neither will your Father forgive your trespasses." That's not a suggestion. That's a warning. Because unforgiveness doesn't just hurt the person who wronged you. It blocks your own relationship with God. Jesus told a parable in Matthew 18 about a servant who was forgiven an enormous debt. Then he turned around and refused to forgive someone who owed him almost nothing. When the king found out, the mercy he had shown was withdrawn. That's what unforgiveness does. It cancels out the grace you've already received. So ask yourself, who are you still holding hostage in your heart? Because your blessing might be waiting on the other side of your forgiveness. 2. Prayerlessness. It doesn't happen all at once. You don't wake up one day and decide to stop talking to God. It's slower than that. You get busy. You get tired. You tell yourself, "I'll pray later." And later turns into days. Days turn into weeks. But here's what's really happening. Every day without prayer is a day without direction. 1 Thessalonians 5:17 says, "Pray without ceasing." Not once a week. Not only in emergencies. Continually. Because prayer isn't just asking God for things. It's staying connected to the one who sees what you can't. In Matthew 26:41, Jesus told his disciples, "Watch and pray, that you may not enter into temptation. The spirit indeed is willing, but the flesh is weak." Even Jesus' closest followers needed that warning. If they needed it, so do you. Because when prayer goes quiet, protection goes quiet too. You start making decisions without wisdom. You start facing battles without armor. Not because God left. Because you stopped picking up the phone. 3. Compromise. It rarely looks dangerous at first. A small lie here. A little compromise there. Watching, reading, or entertaining something you know doesn't honor God, but telling yourself it's not that serious. But Galatians 6:7 says, "Do not be deceived. God is not mocked. For whatever a man sows, that he will also reap." Every small compromise is a seed, and you don't get to plant seeds without eventually harvesting the fruit. Look at Solomon in 1 Kings 11. He started as the wisest man to ever live, but little by little, compromise crept in until his heart was turned away from God entirely. Not one dramatic fall. 1,000 small ones. That's how compromise works. It doesn't announce itself. It just asks for a little more each time, until you don't recognize the ground you're standing on. And by the time you notice, you're not standing where you thought you were. 4. Love of the world. There's nothing wrong with wanting a good life. But there's a difference between having things and being had by them. 1 John 2:15 says, "Do not love the world or the things in the world. If anyone loves the world, the love of the Father is not in him." That's a hard verse. Because loving the world doesn't feel like sin. It feels like ambition. It feels like comfort. It feels like just wanting what everyone else has. But remember Lot's wife in Genesis 19. She was told to run, not look back. But her heart was still in Sodom. And Luke 17:32 makes sure we never forget her. Jesus said simply, "Remember Lot's wife," because she looked back at what she loved more than obedience, and it cost her everything. The question isn't whether you have things. The question is whether your heart belongs to God or to the things He's given you. Because you can hold blessings with an open hand or a clenched fist. Only one of those lets God add to what you already have. 5. Pride. This is the one hiding underneath all the others. Pride is why you struggle to forgive, because forgiving feels like losing. Pride is why prayer feels unnecessary, because you believe you can handle it yourself. Pride is what justifies compromise, telling you the rules don't fully apply to you. And pride is what fuels the love of the world, chasing recognition instead of surrendering your will. Proverbs 16:18 says, "Pride goes before destruction, and a haughty spirit before a fall." And James 4:6 adds, "God opposes the proud but gives grace to the humble." Not withholds grace. Opposes. That should stop you in your tracks. 1 Peter 5:6 says, "Humble yourselves therefore under the mighty hand of God, that He may exalt you in due time." Not humble yourself and stay small. Humble yourself and be lifted. But it starts with letting go of the need to be in control. Because pride says, "I've got this." And God says, "Let me." The moment you stop wrestling for control is the moment you finally have room to receive. If you saw yourself in any of these 5, unforgiveness, prayerlessness, compromise, love of the world, or pride, this isn't meant to condemn you. It's meant to free you. Because you can't fix what you won't name. And you can't be blessed while holding on to what's blocking the blessing. So today, let go of the grudge. Return to the prayer closet. Walk away from the compromise. Loosen your grip on the world. And humble your heart before God. Because on the other side of these 5 sins is the breakthrough you've been asking for all along. God isn't withholding it from you. He's just waiting for you to let go of what's in the way. If this spoke to you, hit subscribe, drop a like, and share it with someone who needs to hear it today.